Welcome and welcome back to Really Legal. I'm attorney Ethan Bearman. Trump election denier attorney John Eastman is fighting for his license to practice law in California. I'll give you the good, the bad, and what's next. I mean, look, to be an attorney who argued in court and in other areas to overturn a legitimate election in 2020 is having long-term repercussions for these attorneys. By the way, it does not bring me pleasure to talk about this. It's very upsetting to me. Lawyers already, have quite the reputation sometimes. And then when we have lawyers who are being suspended or losing their bar licenses. John Eastman, he was indicted in Georgia in the attempt to overturn the election there. That's the Fani Willis case. And the state of California acted upon that. And what's interesting to note about our bar licenses is we have a state bar. It's separate from the regular court system. And our state Supreme Court and the legislature set forth rules. And then our own state bar has its own administrative process for investigating and prosecuting attorneys. In the state of California, John Eastman was recommended for disbarment last month after a state bar judge found his efforts to overturn the 2020 U.S. presidential election on Donald Trump's behalf violated attorney conduct rules. That decision by state bar judge Yvette Rowland automatically deactivated Eastman's law license here in the state of California. And then the Supreme Court, after this referral, will decide whether or not to adopt or reject the recommendation. I'm going to show you on the screen right here. Yeah, that's the State Bar website right now showing that, nope, John Eastman is not allowed to practice law in the state of California. But interestingly enough, and why this is in the news right now, is last week Eastman filed a motion asking the judge to pause the suspension of his law license, calling it highly prejudicial. He claims that he needs the income from his legal practice to maintain his own legal defense in Fulton County, Georgia, where he's fighting criminal charges over his efforts to wrongfully overturn the election. So yesterday, state bar prosecutors here in California filed their own motion arguing that there's no exception to the rule here that, quote, involuntary inactive enrollment is mandatory following a disbarment recommendation, despite Eastman's attempts to appeal in the ethics case. So look, he has claimed more than $1 million in criminal defense costs and expects to pay more than $3 million more before the case in Georgia ends. By the way, in the California State Bar's case, they said that Eastman's disbarment showed that former Trump lawyer Eastman has, quote, demonstrated a willingness to misrepresent facts, violate the law, and pursue frivolous claims on behalf of clients. We can't do that. We have really specific rules on what we can say about our own clients and what we can say in public spheres and what we can put forth in front of courts. It's very upsetting to me. Again, I'm not laughing about this because I take joy in John Eastman having his law license suspended, but attempting to overturn an election, this is very serious what some of these attorneys did. And by the way, let's talk about the different attorneys here who've had their law licenses suspended or are facing disbarment. Jeffrey Clark, former DOJ attorney, faced charges from the Washington, D.C. bar for aiding Trump's post-election efforts from within the DOJ. He broke at least one rule of professional conduct related to his actions, and the D.C. Ethics Committee found in a preliminary ruling, setting the stage for his punishment or possible disbarment, that Clark was also criminally charged in Georgia. I mean, it's just nuts. Jenna Ellis, by the way, I'm going to show you a video. I called out Jenna Ellis on Fox News for being a liar. during the 2020 election, just before the election itself. Take a look at this little clip.
If we had handled it, yeah, Ethan, if I can finish, that's absolutely true, and go back to what the scientists were actually saying. And so President Trump handled this.
Did not say
that.
Okay,
Ethan, that's actually not.
Hold on, selling point.
Well, it's deeply flawed, and let me start by correcting Jenna's lie. Joe Biden's plan is very clear and says won't raise taxes on anybody
Ethan, I think
until they make
$400,000
a year. No, Joe Biden's.com is very clear. $400,000 a year. It's my turn to talk about it.
But she didn't come out of this all clean either. The Colorado Supreme Court publicly censured Jenna Ellis for violating the rules that attorneys must not, quote, knowingly engage in any non-criminal conduct that involves dishonesty, fraud, deceit, or misrepresentation. And Jenna Ellis admitted in court that she had made, quote, misrepresentations while representing Trump after the election that were, quote, reckless and had a selfish motive. I mean, it's so upsetting as an attorney. You know, we got Michael Avenatti in federal prison right now, and Ari Melber called him on MSNBC yesterday. Was that yesterday? To interview him? No, he stole from clients. Please stop giving these people a platform. It's just not okay. If you're a disbarred, disgraced attorney, then you shouldn't be platformed on a major media outlet. It really upsets me. I mean, that's how we live in this alternate facts universe. We're going to platform people who we know are telling things that are untrue. And Jenna Ellis admitted it, and that's why she got away with only a censure in the state of Colorado. Sidney Powell. Oh boy, the now notorious Sidney Powell. A judge dismissed an attempt by the Texas State Bar to discipline Powell in February after the bar alleged Powell's post-election efforts had violated rules for professional conduct. Though she now faces a separate disciplinary investigation in Michigan after being sanctioned for her post-election lawsuit there. She had advised Trump and brought her own post-election lawsuits in 4 states. She still faces a defamation lawsuit from Dominion. She still faces a defamation lawsuit from Smartmatic. And allegedly, there's a federal investigation into her organization's fundraising arm. And she also has been criminally charged in Georgia, although she was one of the people, like Jenna Ellis, who reached a plea deal in Georgia. Rudy Giuliani, he's so disappointing to me. He led Trump's post-election efforts. He's had his law license suspended, and proceedings are underway to determine if he should be fully disbarred. He's also been sued by defamation by Dominion Voting Systems and Smartmatic. He also was criminally charged in Georgia. He also has been ordered to pay $148 million to Georgia election workers for defaming them, and he declared bankruptcy. I mean, look at this list of lawyers. Kenneth Chesbro, I don't know how you pronounce that. He's the attorney described as the architect of the Trump campaign's fake electors scheme. He was criminally charged in Georgia, although he also took a plea deal right before his case went to trial. I mean, it's bad. Michael Cohen, he served a 3-year sentence and home confinement for tax evasion and campaign finance related crimes after he orchestrated the hush money payments, which is going to trial on Monday in New York City by DA Alvin Bragg for the fraud charges related to the business records fraud 34 felony counts in New York, and it relates to election interference. Cleta Mitchell participated in Trump's phone call in which he urged Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger to find enough votes. 11,000 votes. She resigned from her law firm Foley & Lardner in January 2021, saying she left the firm due to a, quote, massive pressure campaign against her from the left to oust her over her associations with Trump. I mean, look, to put your career in the toilet for a short-term gain of, look at this, I'm working for Trump and I'm going to make some money and maybe I'm even going to get some cases, but then to lose your reputation in that moment to suck up to Trump just seems like a really bad idea. Don't break laws, follow the rules, be ethical. By the way, that shouldn't just be lawyers, that should be everyone. Let's follow some basic rules of, hey, this is an ethical thing to do. Let's not lie, knowingly telling something that is not true with the intent to deceive. Terrible idea. But anyway, I love your comments. Please send them to me below. What do you think of these lawyers getting disbarred and suspended? By the way, I said I'd give you the good, the bad, and what's next. So the good is lawyers being held to account by their state bars, generally speaking. So that's a good thing. The bad is not everybody is. And I want every attorney to face the music. If they were intentionally doing things that they knew were wrong, that they knew weren't legal, and involved in anything that was lying to the public about the election, they should be held to account. So the bad is not all of them are being held. So what's next? There's still more disbarment proceedings going on. John Eastman, the state Supreme Court here in California. If I were a betting man, which I'm not, I believe the state bar is going to disbar him here in the state of California. If you enjoy these shows, come on, click that like button below. Share it with your friends. That's really important here. Don't just watch and enjoy and subscribe to the channel, which of course we love. Thank you. But share it with your friends, with your family, with your frenemies. Post it on social media, email it, however you like to share it. Please make sure to do that. Love talking to you. We need your support here. I'm the attorney Ethan Bearman. This is Really Legal on the Really American Network.